Hello there and welcome to another A Starter G briefing. When I tweeted that I was going to do a post on whiteboard markers, I got some replies and some calls from people saying, that's just being silly, you're just being trivial now. But in fact, whiteboard markers are a really important piece of learning technology, and using your whiteboards and getting the most out of them is a really important lesson to learn, I think, for teachers. And of course, Ofsted will, if you've got a whiteboard, they will judge you on how good you are using that whiteboard, interactive whiteboards in particular, and they will like the learners to be using the interactive whiteboards and getting them. I think you need to be confident and have some good tricks and tips for using your whiteboards and keep them useful in the class. Now, I got really annoyed. The reason why I'm doing this post is I went to Smith's to buy some new pens, and they are still selling these horrible pens. All it says on it is whiteboard marker, and they're charging £1 for these, or £2 even. I think they are dreadful things. You can tell they're really bad because as you do a line and then go back on the line, the tip erases the line you've just made rather than makes the line thicker. So you actually have a real problem trying to make these, use them creatively and to get a really good line out of them. I really hate them. And I bought these though. These are Uni pens made by Uniball, Uni Inkview dry white whiteboard markers, and I've used these now for a week, and I think they're really good. And it's just a pleasure to get them out and use them because they've got bright colours and they do interesting stuff. And I'm going to put an animation on now, which you can see, which is just playing around with these whiteboard markers and a whiteboard just to make a bit of fun animation, and it works really well. When you use a quality product like this, you can get quite a lot out of it, and I think it's really good. Now, the other tip I want to introduce you to about whiteboard markers is you don't have to have one of those expensive whiteboards. These are just ordinary, straightforward pieces of A4 paper and card, which have gone through a laminator. You just stick them through the laminator, and you can then use them as whiteboards, and which means you can let everybody have a whiteboard in front of them, and they can scribble the answers or fill in things and then wave them above their heads to show them when they're finished. I think that's a really handy little tip for all sorts of subjects. And they don't last forever, and you know, if you've got the money to buy small A4 whiteboards, that's great, then please do, and they're fairly cheap. But this is a really good quick way of getting whiteboards and using that different kind of interaction with your learners, and it works through well. This is a piece of card, and you might have to put that through the laminator a few times to get it to fix, but of course you can use different coloured cards, you can put different pictures on them, you can do grids and get them to draw graphs and do all sorts of stuff, and let them have a whiteboard pen and draw it all in. It's a really interesting and fun way of getting some class interaction going across the subject areas. So there you go, that's some little thoughts on using whiteboard markers. I kid you not, I'm just as passionate about these as I am about my iPad. So do get some decent markers, try using some different techniques like laminating, and have some fun, and Ofsted I'm sure will thank you for that. And if you're ever in Smith's and you see these, jump up and down on them, they're awful. Thank you very much, I'll see you next time on the next A Starter G briefing.